So today it was Sunday, and we went for a little bit of a walk over to Canadian Tire, and what were we looking for anyway?
Well, I had to get some butt spices. That's right too. Yeah, that's right. I had to get some little blue butt spices because I had run out.
So we went to get the electrical.
We were out at Canadian Tire. We were going to get some blue butt spices because I had run out, and we saw this little horn in the electrical aisle, and it's
completely distracted.
Yes, yeah. A Fiamm low-tone freeway blaster horn, and it looked small enough, and I thought, well, what if we can install one of these on our bikes and replace that wimpy little thing that Kawasaki calls a horn.
Because we were thinking initially of getting like a stubble horn or something like that and installing it, but considering this was $19.99
and we're cheap,
and we're totally cheap, we decided to go with this one instead and give it a bit of a try.
So without further ado, we're going to put this horn on Barry's bike and try it out. So we'll give you a step-by-step as we go.
But before we get started, here's a list of parts that you're going to need. Parts and tools. But before we get started, here's a list of parts and tools that you're going to need. This is a long list.
Good enough.
Okay, yeah,
that's wonderful. Great. Okay, so we'll get right at it here, and we'll give you. Maybe we should demonstrate the horn first.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll give you a demonstration of the before horn on the Kawasaki KLR650.
Stock horn.
Oh, that's a starter. Okay, so
we've only been riding for approximately 3 hours.
So we'll give you a little demonstration of the wimpy little horn on the Kawasaki KLR650. This is what it's going to sound like after you install your horn.
Time lapse, take one.
Doesn't take long to take this. Here's the horn. It's a nice compact design. 2 terminals, nothing really fancy there. Give you a bracket. Mounting bracket, and some instructions, which I usually ignore.
Instructions are for suckers.
Yeah, well, they're handy if you screw things up and you want to refer to them later. So, and there's this wire here that, well, it would be fine if it was a grounded application, but we are using a non-grounded application, so we have to run a separate wire. There's some connectors in here too, so we'll put those there for now. So first things first, we gotta find the nut. There's supposed to be a nut.
Yeah, the one that you dropped down.
Oh, the one that went down there. So the nut. All right. So this has got. They give you just a flange nut. It's not a lock nut or anything. So I tend to like to use. Well, this horn's no good. The mounting tab's broken off.
Beautiful.
So forget that.
That's the end of this session. So the one thing that you want to make sure that your horn has on the back is actually a place to put the mounting bracket.
Yes, it's important.
It's damn straight it's important.
Yeah, so the last one we had did not have the mounting bracket, so we had to go and get another one.
It's been a few days now.
So anyway, what we've done is gone ahead and put in a harness for the horn. Pretty simple to do. I had a piece of double wires in a sheath, so I just ran that up and through the wiring here, making sure that it is not too tight or getting squished in any way, and I wound it through and around through this little place there. It goes through quite nicely, and that's going to wind up going to our horn. And our horn is going to be installed in the underneath the right hand side of the fairing, which is again pretty simple to do. The other end of it, we're going to put a couple of connectors on it, and we're going to hook it right into the existing wiring for the horn. It's fused on the bike, so we don't need to put any fuses in, and then it'll just operate off the normal switch. We're going to mount the horn up underneath the fairings here. So we're going to remove the fastener for that joins the fairing here. You'll need a 5mm Allen wrench for that. So what we've done, we've bolted the bracket onto the horn, and I've sort of roughly placed it where it's supposed to go under the fairing here, and you can have a look at that. That's sort of where we're going to put it. You have to make a modification to the bracket because you want it so that it'll bolt back on flat here. You don't want that sticking out like that because it'll just too much space. So what I do, I'll take a marker and I'll mark a line like that on the bracket, and then I'll pull the horn back out again. Okay, now I'll just make sure that this is snugged up tight. Then I take it over to my vise. Put the bracket in the vise along that same angle, and then we'll give it a little bend like that. So what that does, that flattens that out so that it'll fit right up tight in that space. So then we place the bracket back inside with the horn on it, and you can see that it's relatively
a little bit more flat in there.
flattened out there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we're going to reinsert the fastener, the bolt for the fairing. There we go. We can now, I've built this harness, I already put the connectors on it so that we can now, okay, so we'll just hook up our wiring connectors there.
Now, does it matter which wire goes to which connector at this point?
I don't believe so. And I'll just push those back out of the way. No, it doesn't matter. It's makes no difference. It's only electrical. It's only a coil, so it doesn't matter if it's a positive or negative. It doesn't really make any difference to it. And I've got a little excess wire here, so I'm going to just pull that through a bit. We've installed our wiring to our horn. The cable runs down again through the back behind this little panel, out this slot here. Seems to work quite nicely. And I've used a little extra length so that I can make sure I've got the proper length. And the horn's right behind this piece of electronics. I imagine it's probably the ignition system, I would think anyway. But I'm just going to cut this off, reasonable length here, so I got something to work with. And I'm going to strip this back a bit. We use our knife to cut the insulation back a bit.
And remember, cut away from yourself.
Yeah, always cut away from yourself. Again, let me pull that out. Yeah, it should be plenty of length. We'll just get that off. So what we're going to use here is our little piggyback connectors. These will just go right inside the existing connector, and they'll be crimped onto the cable. So that's the simplest way to do that. strip off the other one. Always check your little tug on there to make sure that they're tight. Now, this is going to work.
So what we're going to do in order to get at those leads better is that we're going to loosen off the one nut on the back of the horn and rotate the leads off to the left into that space that's over there.
It's a rubber mount, so we can rotate it just on the nut there, so that worked out just fine. Now, we're going to take our connections and we're going to reconnect them back up. Okay, so that's the one. And there's the other one. So, there we go. Just flatten those down a little bit. Yeah, that'll work out fine. Okay, now, in theory, if we had keys, we could test it.
All right, keys. Okay. I'll get those.
Okay, so now that our horn is hooked up here, we can test and see what's going to work. So far, we got ignition and it works. Well, we can put it back together. Okay, so now that we've completed our installation of the horn, and we'll just make sure everything runs. And there we go. Try our horn.
Alright.
Well, there you go. Pretty simple installation, not too complicated. Very well anybody can do it with no other tools.
He's saying stuff while the engine's running. He was basically saying that. Fairly simple installation.
Anybody can pretty well do it with a minimum of tools and a little bit of know-how. So there you go.
And a guy to stand there holding the camera.
Yeah. We're done.
Done!